you so much for joining me. Polina here, telling you a little story here about Jupiter. Let's just see what Google says. From May the 16th, 2023 through May 25th, 2024, the planet Jupiter returns to Taurus for a seminal, supersized season of new beginnings. What's to come for culture, cash, and the collective future when the planet of grandeur hits a sign of opulence? Okay, so I'm gonna just tell you now just a little bit. There is so much more to the picture than this, but let's give it a shot. Okay, so Taurus is, and it isn't about money. Taurus is about health, actually. The planet Jupiter is not necessarily about money growth. It's not necessarily about wisdom either. It's about expansion, and it's about expanding things that were not previously seen or felt. So it's an illuminating planet. It illuminates and it puts things in perspective, and it helps you understand pleasure, space, and time, and the glory of it all. And yes, it is a bit grand. It is true. It's a little grand. So what can we do here? It is also the breath. It is the cultivating of wisdom, culture of wisdom. It's understanding collective psychology. It is clarity, and it is also the voice of reason and the choices that you have to make in order to make something true. So this isn't just about hey, here we are, we're going to get healing. But yeah, there is also that aspect to it. So what can I say about this Taurus placement? To me, it doesn't feel that Jupiter is going to just bring it all to you, here, have this. But in some places and some people, yeah, that's going to become very obvious. For example, you're salesman, and now you're understanding how to drive it better. You just know where to get the sales better, okay? For example, you're very, very interested in money and cash or whatever, and goods and daily bread, whatever it is. And you're going to get more of it because you have found a way out. So it's about finding the key signature. It's about finding the friend. It's about finding that, and this other aspect to make it kind of very free and easy. Also, I'm feeling there's going to be much more ease in terms of detox, understanding the body, the physical body, with Jupiter having just gone through Aries. The body is going to be very, very simple and easy and legit to find your place in the here and now. And some people are going to definitely benefit financially. There is also the talk of the town. We also have just had, would have had the North Node in there, in Taurus. Talk of the town, people that have made it, and also people that have made quite a few different things and feats in order to get there. And also I've just done the video for May and for the moon eclipse on the 5th of May. So yeah, the expert, the expert and a person that really knows how to do something, that's going to come out to the surface, and it's going to be effortless. It's like, I can do this with my eyes closed. I can do this any time of day. I could have always done this. There's always going to be a few people during this time that are not going to make it, but they're going to try. So stubbornness of Taurus is going to keep them up all day. If you're one of these people, stop and try to trust what is organic and natural for you. So for example, you're saying, no, I got to work all of these days. I got to do all of this work. I got to put in the hours to make this happen. Not a lot of it is about you, maybe. Maybe it is about the dream that your father had. Maybe it is about something that you were told as a child. So I feel that this is very important for you guys. And I've also just done this video on May, and yeah, a lot of it is about inorganic realities and cultures that have nothing to do with you. So to brush away the predatorial energies of this transit, and to fulfill yourself as a human simply, maybe it is about trusting the simple things, as Taurus is a very, very simple sign. Sometimes it's about water, having enough to drink, having a nice place to sleep, and just knowing how things work. And for a lot of people, it is actually still sort of about commitments and jobs and cultures and collectives that they're part of. And it is not really that innocent a time, because people are so wound up and wired up with this North Node in Taurus and wanting so much to make it matter and to make it shine, make it happy, to make it work, to make a worldview that helps them work things out, to make a body of work that gets them more work, So people are going to, I feel, give it a good try. They're going to give it a chance. And yeah, there's going to be some very innocent people walking into the wrong territory. Of course, as with all Taurus-based phenomena, there is a led person, or a lamb to the slaughter, a little bit of a stupid person, sometimes not knowing what it takes in a certain situation, or how far they are from, they're out of their depth. They are out of their depths. So also understanding if that has happened a lot. So for example, you're working at a job where you're not meant to be, or you're putting in so much work and effort and time that it's laughable. It just doesn't work. Or like, for example, you're selling something for very cheap that could have always been very expensive, or you're finding the truth in things when people it's no truth at all. And we have to also understand also certain other people that are doing that with you, or that are finding their lives also scaling out of control without actually understanding all they had to do was just to see the obvious and to understand the rock hard events of their life and the rock hard truths. So that's where, like, for me, maybe it's a little bit hard and hurtful. Like, for example, if your barrier between people is very strong, but say, for example, what you really have is not very easy. Maybe it's not very easy to live in a certain place, but you still keep on living there, or you still keep on talking about certain things that don't interest you anymore. It's very, very difficult, but it's become a stone. So, for example, you don't really like your spouse, but you have to keep on going, and they're becoming a rock. But at the same time, you don't really want to know each other. So that's very, very dark. So there is a certainty and a truth and a kind of like robust build to certain things during this particular transit. And we have to understand where it works and where it also shows you respect back. You know, so for example, the more I invest into this like political career, the greater is my force, and the more economically affluent I am, and the greater being I become. You know, so some people, yeah, they're really wired, and they're like sort of pushed into these different associative and disassociative grids, and they have to do a lot of things. Like there's women that have to wear makeup and high heels to be able to survive a certain type of social world. You know, there's people that have to give it their all every day, and come what may, have to show up to work. There's people that have to mean so much to other people. They have to lie. They have to be so funny to get some attention, and they have to make friends in a very fake way. And what basically Taurus does is it won't necessarily see those things for the truth that they are, even with Jupiter, and it'll just be like, okay, well, that's how it's done. That's how it works. So that kind of like naughty aspect of Jupiter, sometimes to bring things out into perspective, won't really be as strong in Taurus. So that means that Taurus isn't going to be the healthiest sign for Jupiter. So this is another thing, you know, even though this Google says it's going to be a time of like opulence and, you know, all of this, it's kind of like a little bit easy to get sick. I think it's a little bit easy to get unheard and to also get muffled, and for not being respected, not being brought into the world view or into the family's view, and not being cared for. It kind of depends how you have been living your life. So I think for everybody it's going to be, of course, obviously very individual and different. I think that with Taurus is going to come a lot of seeing things as okay. Like it's going to be like, yeah, I know, like I'm a mom and I got to like do this and I got to do that, and it takes me 4 hours to get here, like, and I got to do that and I got to do this. Like the thing is, Jupiter in Taurus is not going to be able to stop that cycle, and there is a part of you that is so good at normalizing things that are happening in your life. It's like, yeah, I take like 4 hours to get to work every day, to and from work every day. Yeah, I know, 4 hours I spent just on the bus. Imagine that. Wow, that happens here in this region. Happens. Or like, for example, it took me so long to get this job. I will do anything to keep it. You know, this happens, you know, sometimes in the cities. I'm in the city right now, so I'm reading this from the city. Like, people get really also to know you through that. They respect it and they kind of resonate also. And they won't say anything wrong. It's like, yeah, I know that girl takes 1 hour to get ready every day. I know that. Or like, yeah, this house is built out of, I don't know, like asbestos, and that's okay. Or like unlivable materials. So that okayness is kind of what makes things work. Even if you are having a bad time. So Jupiter isn't going to show you the way that he would in Gemini, for example. He's not a risk taker in Taurus. The guide, Jupiter, the teacher, the prophet, isn't going to be one of those charismatic energies. It's going to be kind of a lost between the lines person, or a muffled person, or like a person that's slightly juvenile or even slightly critical of themselves. They don't fully have it yet. So sometimes people will come to your aid, they will help you, but they will come from completely different backgrounds. So they will look like they're not very attractive people to you, but sometimes there's like an unattractive Jupiter it comes in and takes things into the next level. So that means that, for example, you're expecting like this philosopher, coach, or guide, this big shiny person with, I don't know, a guitar and a big cape, but you get like a very, very small, even narrow-minded teacher. So there is like kind of like a shallow feeling to Taurus. It's like the guide or the coach or the teacher that makes it, or like that give the lot, might be kind of a limited person. So they might be somebody from the countryside, or they might be somebody who's kind of new at this, or they might be like completely innocent. So there's like a lamb to the slaughter innocence, or they might charge very little. Interesting. Opulence, affluence, Taurus, Jupiter, they might charge a very small time for what they do, or you might find yourself with a coach that epically changes your life by just saying one or two words. Now that's something very interesting. So the whole idea of the teacher or the psychologist or like the god, like embodied, is going to be very, very tight. And sometimes it might be a little bit foolish or stupid or like uneducated. Uneducated people could give more advice than very highly glamorous and educated people. Also, glamour's going to change. Maybe the look of things, furniture, representation in the world, physical goods and markets might get a little bit more wholesome. It's like, I don't care about the packaging as long as the product is good. I don't really care if it is good enough for someone else. It is nice for me. I like this. I like this. That needs to come with all self-respect and respect of other people. It's like somebody will say, yeah, I know, like you're saying, like, for example, this person is no good for me, but I actually like this. I like this kindly relationship that we have. I like it. I don't care. So like this kind of, not necessarily making do. It is kind of about making do. This kind of hopeless feeling of like, oh yeah, sure, but that's okay. It's fine. This is okay. Like, it's going to, I feel, be part of the world, and it's going to become very simple for people also to be misguided and unachieved and be put to work without having to be at work. And look at people kind of from a slanted view, because there's always going to be something antisocial to Taurus as well, because the next sign is hypersocial Gemini. So it's going to be like, that's okay, like as long as I'm here safe, as long as I have my place, as long as I get to do what I want, as long as nobody hears from me, as long as my commitments are tidy, and as long as my body is feeling warm and comfy, I don't really want to do that much more. And interesting, that brings affluence. So there are quite a lot of people that are going to benefit by calming down and relaxing and having a nice day. And not having to talk so much, not having to do so many things, and being kind of like also in pleasure, as we're also in the rabbit here for most of this transit, and pleasure for some of this transit, yeah, for not having that much and just having the simple things. So people suddenly finding pleasure of just having like a beautiful handbag, or people just finding like a lifelong partnership. Also, Jupiter is also a guide for partnership, especially for many women, as Jupiter suggests a perfect partner in a woman's chart sometimes. So for example, partnership that is just kind of like healthy and homely and happy, like I'm just so happy with this. And yeah, sometimes the world will build you up to be able to receive even more of that. So in a weird way, that humble, happy, homely, tidy and tight on the details and being kind of fine, even like mousy, like being kind of fine with just how things are going, isn't going to be a miss. And there's going to be more pride, opportunity, and respect given to people that are kind of okay. It's like, yeah, I'm good at my job. Like, I'm fine just like shifting office to office. I'm actually great. I'm actually great at it. So this is going to be very like, say, hard for me and other people. Like, say I have third house, Jupiter and Aquarius, this is like rip your body open, like try this, try that. This is very outrageous Aquarian Jupiter I have. It's going to be very also healthy for me to notice the main mega shift in society for these times is going to be people wanting to be point perfect. Like, okay, like I know I can go to any cafe in town. I know I can experience. This is like Jupiter third house, Jupiter third house Aquarius. I'll just walk with my big feet, and like I'll try a fair few things. Like that's not going to work out for me. So that's the thing. Like the big people, adventurous people, are going to have to get shy, and some of it is going to be very, very meek. Well, there's going to be not that much people noticed if they're too loud a speaker or they have too many a word. So that's the thing. It's a minimalist tactic. It's about precision. So there's also a really interesting part that is coming out during this time. It's very precise. Like the perfect perfume might be designed in 2023, 24. The perfect dress, the perfect car, the perfect watch, like the perfect part of town. This is a very interesting time for also addiction. And if you also notice, like very much glamour and social expertise is going to be like, look, I don't care about this all. I want this perfect little dress, or like I want this place in town, like I want this is what I want. So there's going to be a huge also garbage barrel of different taste, cultures and things. They've already been coming to the show. I'm actually noticing in terms of design, I'm actually very interested in this now because I've been making my own clothes. I've been sewing and decorating my own clothes to preserve my spirit, because I feel that commercially made clothes are very disheartening and very difficult to wear. So like that's the thing. It's like I want this. This is like what Taurus Jupiter is going to do eventually. So it's going to be like, this is the perfect smell. Like this is the perfect woman, or this is the perfect person. It's going to be, I think, very also hard. Like say for me and a lot of eccentric people, or like a lot of tempted by life people, tempted to change people, tempted to travel people, to be able to sacrifice and then have just the one thing. So there's going to be a simplifying thing. It's not necessarily going to be the horn of plenty that people are expecting. So it's like I can have this. People that go to the shops or the supermarkets, they throw everything into their bag. Oh, and this. It's going to be like, I am going to get this, and I'm going to really, wow. I did this just the other day. I bought some blue vein cheese. I love blue vein cheese. It's like kind of like a antibacterial like a thing, kills bugs basically, and I just like ate the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's like I don't care about this stuff at the supermarket. I just want to get this one thing. That's something very interesting also for you, like say as a designer, as a developer, if there is any designers listening to me today. Very precise on the details. Sometimes it's the one thing that you put into your concept that works, and that's it. Like for example, anything I make is going to have a bit of animal print in it. For example, I will put leopard print or zebra print in anything I make, and that's what makes it fly. Or for example, I will study my grandmother's clothes and I will put her energy, her spirit, her spirituality into my clothes that I'm making. Perfect. Or like this is ethnic clothes, or this is bohemian clothes. Like there is like a very simple link that I think a lot of designers are missing, and that's just one flavor, one taste, one note, one frequency. And that's it. So like a lot of us are going to also, I feel, struggle and feel very unsafe during this time. There's lots of ways in which that's going to be. For example, if you've been exposed, like say exposure to nature, like say living in a place which is very hard biologically for your body to survive, like living in a desert, living by the sea, living in a place with certain very harsh elements, that's going to really, really pay for us to know more about. Also, like living with people that are not very trustworthy, having like say weak passwords, weak accounts, having a weak system, also having not enough immunity, having bad immunity, having not enough money, having not enough to say, having not enough to pay. There's going to be a lot of vulnerability and healing done about that. So there's going to be people that have to grow through a certain cycle and maybe also get rich, or get strong, get affluent in order to survive certain question marks in their life. Then there are also going to be those of us that don't have to be a part of that. And once again, it comes back to a nice, spruce, normal, neutral, and like equilateral reality. So perfect geometry, like perfect voice, perfect skills, perfect, so like having it perfect sometimes is better than having all of it at once. But then inevitably we have to calm down. So like there is an alkalizing energy that is going to take place during this time. And also as we go into the dragon year, eventually 2024, there's going to be a strong might and a certain feeling, like a certain build. Also, if you like working with your body, it's going to come to a very nice center point during this time. So, for example, if you are doing yoga, if you're doing, like, say, bike riding, I don't know, like figure skating, I don't know, whatever you're doing during Taurus, Jupiter, is going to help you really evolve. So the body is going to become right and it's going to be very centered. So if you didn't have those results with Jupiter going for Aries, don't worry about it. You can get very good bodily, physical results during Taurus and Jupiter. It's just going to have to end quite a lot of cycles for you. So, for example, now understanding, like, I can't keep on trying to be skinny, I got to get strong. Or, like, I can't keep on eating this thing and expecting a good result. I can't keep on, I don't know, like, sleeping less and working more. Or I can't work out at a certain on a certain wave. Like, I can't have this regime because it actually brings my body down and tires it out instead of giving at what it wants. So, like, this is not just about regimes and health and fitness, because I know that not many of my listeners would probably be interested in that. It's astrology, you know. It's more likely that some people have to really get clear and cultured and kind of confined and precise on, like, how they really want to do it, and that is asking for clarity. So before Gemini Jupiter starts in May 25th of May 2024, before we go into also the Dragon Year full expansion in July 2024, there's going to have to be some kind of real shift maybe in you with Jupiter and Taurus, to know how to do things correctly and how to hold things together. So, for example, if you're a woman, usually women are like this, you know, and you want to, like, say, make sure that your body has a certain shape. If you're really obsessed about keeping your results also, like, as a guy, like, you want to build the muscle, you don't want to, like, slump back into where you were before or even get worse. Sometimes bodies can even get worse after, like, producing certain hormones during the exercise routines and then having to slump back into, like, you know, being goofy again, basically. This is a very nice cycle to work out what you need to keep your body feeling good and pristine. So if you have not been able to achieve a certain shape, if you have not been able to keep your results, and if you keep on, like, fighting yourself at the gym, the yoga studio, wherever you're fighting yourself, whatever is your battleground, it's a very important time by the end of this transit to try to get softer, to soften on your routines and to get really rigid on exactly what you need. So this is going to be a very genius outcome eventually. So, for example, now I know that, like, 4, like, hours at the gym a week is too much. I'm just going to do 2 hours, but I'm going to make it mainly cardio, for example. This is one way to do it. Or, like, I'm going to only do, like, a little bit of cardio and a lot of yoga, and then I'm going to do breath work. Like, for example, I'm playing didgeridoo. Of all things, I'm playing didgeridoo, and it's helping me with my respiration. Maybe you have other things that help you and that strengthen you as well. So also, like, understanding, like, for example, if you're doing a lot of cardio, that might put you out in some ways. Like, say if you have weak knees, weak bones in the family, bad joints, like, you know, so you got to, like, get on the bike, so you got to, like, avoid the treadmill. Also depends on you and how you're feeling. Like, say, people that are quite big in their size not often can actually physically be happy to run. You know, it's not easy to run. So maybe you'll find yourself a doctor or trainer or a physiotherapist that will help you get those results. So I'm feeling that quite a lot of questions of health and well-being and nutrition are going to definitely have to stop by the end of the cycle. So that means that you will probably either work it out or you'll say, I don't want that anymore. And also, like, in terms of money and influence, there's going to be people that are going to somehow find out why they've been spending so much, what they don't want to spend on, why they don't want to talk about certain things, why they don't want to, for example, criticize people, get into certain jobs or be parts of certain energies, and what that could actually protect them from. So this is not just about money, like, I'm going to save this money and then I'm going to spend this money. It's not just about this. This is about all of it. So, for example, if you're interested in financial gain, and a lot of, like, money coaches will tell you that it's just not about the money, the numbers on the screen. Like, it's not about the money. It's actually about the full quantum of your living situation. It's like a ecosystem, it's like a universe. What you have been a part of would really matter. So for example, if you are with travelers and certain communities and cultures that don't believe in money, and then you're thinking, why can't I like save money from my computer job? Like, say I work on a computer and I can't save money. What's wrong? It's like because you are part of these certain cycles and themes. So social cycles are going to start to get revisited by about March, or they start to get trending by about March 2024. There's going to be a lot of people asking, why am I part of a certain scheme or a certain group of people that aren't actually going where I want to go? So for example, if I see like, okay, by the end of my career having $2 or $3 million, for example, why am I not being like, why am I not being seen? Why am I not being met? Why does this not come to me? It's because your frequency is going elsewhere. So for example, you are lazy, you're waking up late, you're going out partying, you're smoking a lot of weed, you're going out dancing, you have a habit of, like, say, falling in love with anybody that you meet. That's going to naturally assume energetically that you won't need those sparks. But say if you're very driven, very strong, for example, if you live in a city like New York, and you have a lot of people around you that like the same things, so you're going to certain type of groups that are interested in gaining not just necessarily income. It's not just about money, it's about the whole thing. It's a lifestyle. It's maybe also like a club. It's like there's a special guide for this stuff, so this is not just about like having those numbers in the bank, although for some people that's what it is. It's more about the whole thing. It's like the whole thing. It's like, for example, if you can imagine having an apartment in a city, okay, having your own driver, or whatever, is going to have to come together as a kind of like semi-whimsical thing for a while during some of Taurus, and then it's going to give you an answer. So if you're really interested in manifesting, like for example financially, you have to understand that there is a certain type of call and response, there's a certain type of cause and effect, there's a certain type of maybe also body of water that you need, maybe there is a certain type of thing that your energy reflects with, and that doesn't reflect with other things. Also, that I know that for some bodies, if we're talking about like astrocartology, if you want, you can ask about this if you're interested. There is like a very, very big change that sometimes people need to be able to generate. So if you're really interested in getting some money, like actual money during this time, it's not just about spending and all of that. It's not just about necessarily the education, although that's a closer question mark. I think it's more about like the feeling of how you are, what you live for, where you are, what for you live, like all of these people around you. So it's like getting a completely different family of people. This is more like towards the end of Taurus, like March, April, May, Taurus, Jupiter. How you react with other people, how you make money already, and also not burdening yourself with having to change your life completely, trying to shift from one psychology to the other. And it won't be maybe of matter to you right now, if you don't like it, but maybe it will be later on. So I think it's about everything that you find relevant, anything that you're spending your time, energy, and also financial freedom on, and all of that which you do. So if you're interested in the whole ecosystem of money and of trust, and then like of having to, like, say for example, being supported by a husband, or having to do so much work to get yourself together, all of this, if you're really, really curious about getting it all together, yeah, also maybe that is how it's done. It's just about waiting and thinking and spending time also listening and understanding the full conglomerate of people that you're working with, because these days money is not just about affluence. It's a social system, it's a class system, it's a kind of a balance between worlds, and usually these people live in a city or cultural hubs, and if they don't do that, usually it's for other reasons that they have like moved out of the city. So like, if you like, you can talk to me about this, or like other people. It's just very important also to end this ongoing process, this harsh like process, with wishing to receive that which might not actually be right for you to receive today, and to keep on asking nature and other people to supply you things that don't actually matter to you or your journey or your life. So it's not about being kind of so it's not about being kind of an insensitive, hard-nosed, hardcore person that keeps on walking the path and asking relentlessly for change, or asking relentlessly other people to help, or asking life, to be something different. It's not about this, because that's going to be very hard. And I do understand with Jupiter and Taurus, some people will be so blinded, they will just go, yeah, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, like there's no sensitivity anymore. And what can I say? I suppose to avoid a lot of karmas in your life, and to make sure that you're not just building yourself a reality that is just pushing towards an inevitable end, I would suggest also not to be annoying. Like, some people are just, they become annoying, and it's hard to make friends, it's hard to make a life eventually, after all. And basically, how to not use your time or your body this way is develop your senses. The nose, the eyes, the ears, try to remain sensitive, even though there is a lot probably going on in your world, and not lose your sparkle. And then Gemini will open a lot of doors for especially those people with a lot of sparkle. It's going to be sparkle central. So as we go to the year of the dragon, is going to be sparkle, sparkle. And not a lot of people are going to have to maybe get to learn things, or have to change their life, or be a part of anything too real, too emotional, too iconic, because their sparkle is going to basically buy them time. So if you are interested, maybe also for a lot of giant leaps, into the future, and giant change of life, try to wait until Gemini Jupiter, which will be in the end of May 2024, to be able to get aggressive, strong, feisty, fiery, and fun enough to be able to last, because it's not going to be about strong and soft and smooth, it's going to be about radical again. So if you have got it in you, if you're feeling like you're a very young person and you're funny, and maybe you are landing on deaf ears already, and there's not enough charisma or personality that you can show, like to make your way, try to leave it alone. Try to have a quieter time. Quiet time is what Jupiter and Taurus is about, and a sensitive time, a feeling time, even a sleepy time, to be able to redefine your culture, or to define yourself anew during Gemini Jupiter. Thank you very much. I hope this was interesting, and I'll see you next time.